Hello, guys. Cartoon Rental 164 is here, and I know I haven't done a movie review in a while because I haven't. I done Search for Pants a while ago. Because that was my first SpongeBob movie that I actually have reviewed on this channel. But I decided to review. I'm gonna probably decide to review the other SpongeBob movies and give them my thoughts on each of them because since it would make sense because I didn't actually review all the SpongeBob movies before Search for Pants came out, honestly. So I apologize for that. But anyway, this video will be talking about a specific topic that people like to bring up, honestly. And people always say this about a certain SpongeBob movie that people like to talk about a lot. And it's not Sponge Out of Water or Plankton movie, honestly, but it's actually probably the most like people always say it's the most best SpongeBob movie out there, honestly. Which I can see why, but I personally don't think it's the best SpongeBob movie in my opinion, honestly. Matter of fact, I think this movie is a little bit weaker than Search for SquarePants, Sponge on the Water, and the Plankton movie overall. And no, it's not Sponge on a Run because I absolutely don't like that movie, honestly. But well, I'll get there when I get there. So one movie I'm talking about today, you're wondering, and also not the Sandy Cheeks movie because that one also is really bad. I'm talking about the first SpongeBob movie. Now, people are probably going to hate me for this video, considering that people seem to really like the first movie a lot, which I can see why. But I personally I have a few problems I have with the first movie overall. But I guess I'll give you guys a history of what the first movie is before I discuss it in a lot of things about it. So, firstly, is that this movie was being produced during season three's production. Actually, no, I should scratch that. Season three's production only lasted from 2000 to 2002. Actually, so over 2 years of production of the episodes in general. The last episode they actually produced in SpongeBob in the original run was Pranks a Lot from season 3, and also SpongeBob Beast the Strangler. And those two episodes didn't air until 2004, actually. And also, those episodes were finished by August of 2002. But, and you know why that they wanted to, why there was only a few episodes in 2003 and 2004 is because they wanted to hype up the first SpongeBob movies for release overall. So that's why they wanted to held back a few episodes from airing in 2002, and was also just having like there were 6 in total in 2003, and there's 7 in total in 2004, basically. And this will also apply to Sponge Out of Water as well, because that one 2013 had 9 episodes that premiered, and 2014 had 2 new episodes, and early 2015 had 1 new episode. But anyways, enough to talk about the explanation. And the movie actually started I think the movie started production in summer of 2002, the first movie, I think. And Sponge Out of Water started production in summer of 2002. So yeah, I so yeah, I think that and also this movie was being made for over 2 years, and this movie was also getting 4 trailers basically. There was one in April, there was one in May, there was one in June, and then there was one in October. That's total of 4 trailers in general, which is probably the most for any SpongeBob movie out there, honestly. Because nowadays, since Sponge Out of Water, we're only getting 2 trailers for up to release of the movie overall, which kind of sucks, honestly. And if they did 4 trailers for each SpongeBob movie afterwards, after the first movie, I think I would have been more happier, because then people get more marketing, honestly, and that's how it feel like. That's how I just feel, honestly. But whatever. I guess you can't expect too much. I guess. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. Also, the movie. Also, I think also people keep saying that the first movie was supposed to end the show, but I'll get to that later on in this video. Actually, about how my thoughts on that, because I feel like there's a YouTuber that I need to mention that actually, who actually stated this fact that actually I think is true. Honestly, so I'm being honestly, on that. But anyway, let's move on. So when did this movie released? Honestly, this movie released in November 2014, not 2014, 2004. It released in November 2004, and this is what in this movie was the main reason why SpongeBob kept going overall. Honestly, because it was performing greatly at the box office sales. There was Sponge in the Water did have more box office sales than the first movie and Search for SquarePants 2, which is crazy to me. But still, even if I prefer those movies over this one on it, over the first movie personally. But I will get to that in a different video about ranking the SpongeBob movies on a large scale, honestly, or at least like my ranking of them, honestly, or talk about the comparisons of them, honestly. So, yeah, the first movie. So what's the plot of the first movie overall? I think that's enough introduction. Actually, no. Maybe we should get to the merchandise, honestly, because there was a lot of things for this movie. There was several book tie-ins that came out in September 2004. There was also a video game that came out in October 2004. And there's also even a TV marathon in November 2004 that was showcasing, like, the premiere, like, had a sneak peek of the first movie in general, which is crazy to me. Or I don't know if it had a sneak peek or not. I don't know. And also, this movie had a Burger King toys in November 2004 to January 2005. Yeah, so a lot of big promotions for this, and also a lot of toys as well. And also, like Java games, Flash games, Nick Arcade game. Like, just a lot of things out the Wild Zoo, honestly. And I think this is worth it because I think this is definitely the best. This definitely has good marketing. But I will say my favorite marketing of any of the SpongeBob movies was Sponge Out of Water, personally, except for the meal toys for that one. Honestly, those ones, the meal toys for Sponge Out of Water were pretty bad. Honestly, probably my least favorite SpongeBob toy line when it comes to like the meal toys. Sonic is probably like a close second. The Sonic toys are probably the close second, honestly, close least favorite second. But anyway, let's move on. So, what's the plot of the first SpongeBob movie? Also, I should mention this as well before I get into the plot of the movie. Is also that this movie was originally in 4K resolution when it first came out, and it also had brighter colors than the actual final DVD release of the movie overall. Because I think it's because they originally released this movie in different colors, so they made it more like darker, I guess I can say, or more 4K resolution thing. I think they released it in like 4K resolution thing, honestly. So yeah. But anyway, actually, if you're wondering if I should if I have the 4K resolution Blu-ray thing or 4K resolution version of the movie, I unfortunately don't have it. Yeah, shocker. I know a lot of people are probably gonna say, "Why don't you have the 4K resolution version? That's probably the best version of the movie." Well, it's because first of all, is because I actually didn't ask. I forgot to ask my mom if I wanted to get that thing in 2024, and I also forgot. I also own the movie like so many times. Honestly, have you even seen my DVD collection? I have the movie like about one, two, three, four different times of this movie. I own 4 copies of the movie in general. That's crazy. Four, 4 copies is crazy. I can't even do a video without being interrupted. Anyways, we're back to what I was saying. So the thing about the first movie, I own like 4 copies of the first movie in general. 3 of them are DVDs and 1 is Blu-ray. Maybe at some point I'll buy the 4K resolution Blu-ray version of the movie, or at least the Blu-ray. I might buy the 4K resolution version of the movie, honestly, at some point. But I'm not sure because I'm not sure about that. Maybe I'll ask my grandma. I don't know. Like I said, I know I have the first movie like 4 different times, so why I need another one, honestly. But then again, I also want to watch the movie in its original 4K resolution overall. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense, honestly. At least a little bit of sense. I also heard that the DVD versions had desaturated colors overall, which is kind of weird. But like I said, this is different. The movies was different, honestly, back then. So yeah. Also, the movie aired in during the Best Day Ever marathon, and it was in full. It was in full screen. It was in full screen. Widescreen was not a thing until 2008, if you're wondering. So that's kind of interesting, honestly, that this movie was in full screen when it first aired in the Best Day Ever Marathon. But I digress, I guess. So yeah, that's enough of an introduction. Also, this movie released on Blu-ray in 2014 because they wanted to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the movie. And that's about it. Also, the movie originally released in Blu-ray in 2011. So, yeah. That's enough introduction. I spent 10 minutes talking about this whole marketing campaign, or at least the whole production and marketing of the movie overall. Let's get into the plot of the movie overall. The main plot. The main source of story in the movie overall. So, after SpongeBob is getting ready to go be the manager of the Krusty Krab, but once Squidward gets manager, SpongeBob becomes depressed and goes out for ice cream at the Goofy Goober restaurant or shop. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's a shop or restaurant. With Patrick. Meanwhile, Plankton goes through his evil plans and sees a Plan Z. And Plan Z consists of stealing Neptune's crown, framing Mr. Krabs, and taking over Bikini Bottom. And once he activates his plan, SpongeBob and Patrick has to go on a journey to Shell City to retrieve King Neptune's crown back, save the town, and save Mr. Krabs' life. While Plankton sends Dennis to attack the two heroes. Honestly, this part of the movie was crazy to me. No. This sounds like a good idea for a SpongeBob movie. We have a good motivation for a villain. We have a good character arc for the main character, and we also have a lot of funny things we can do for the potential of this movie. But where is my problems gonna start coming in then? Well, I guess I'll give you guys a few of my problems I have with this movie overall. Firstly, I don't like the portrayal of Plankton here, honestly. Not in a hateful way. I just don't like how he wants to take over the world. I know he did want to do that in fun, but I don't think to the extent of taking over the sea overall. I'll say that for sure. And it only wanted in the main show was to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. Which he does make Krabby Patties for, but then he just takes over the town for a lot of reasons, I guess. I don't know why. Then again, I also can see why he wanted to do this, considering that, I guess, because, villain needs to be more villainous, I guess you could say. Also, another big problem I have with this movie is that they don't use the other main characters that much in this movie. I consider the main characters of the main show is SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, Gary, Plankton, Karen, Mrs. Puff, Larry, and Pearl. And that's it, actually. But unfortunately, this movie decides to completely, and I mean completely, have Squidward and Sandy have small roles, and so is Mrs. Puff and Pearl and Larry. Pearl doesn't even appear in this movie at all, if you're wondering, which is very strange. And Gary only gets a few lines too as well. I wish that Squidward and Sandy went on the adventure, but I guess I can see why they wanted to keep it only Sponge and Patrick overall, considering that, I guess because they wanted to prove themselves that they're mentally, honestly, and stuff. Another big problem I have with this movie is that there's a little bit too much butt jokes and, toilet humor overall. Now, I wouldn't say as bad as, Teen Titans Go, honestly, but I think it's kind of close to the quality of Surfer SquarePants, because actually one of my biggest problems with Surfer SquarePants is that they kind of do a lot of butt jokes in the movie overall, or at least too many just childish jokes overall. Or just mostly butt jokes or something weird in the movie, which I understand they wanted to do that for the first movie in Surfer SquarePants, but I feel like those were two problems I had with both movies overall, and they're both similar to each other anyway. With different plots, though. Another big problem I have with this movie is that another big problem I have with this movie is that I feel like some scenes kind of drag on a little bit. I do feel like there's some scenes that drag on a little too long, honestly. Such as the one, such as the the county line scene. Honestly, that one should have been shortened down a little bit. I'll say that for sure. I'll say that scene was very short and not actually not very short. It was very long. I'll say that for sure. The laughing kind of went on for way too long, honestly. But no, I guess you can't expect too much from the show. I can't expect too much from the. I guess you can't expect too much from a movie that's based on like, my favorite show of all time and stuff. So what's never? And I feel like also the scene where Spawn and Patrick gets chased by the frogfish also was way on too long. They could have shortened that down as well. And I feel like some of Spawn and Patrick's adventure could have been shortened a little bit down, but I can also see why they wanted to extend the length a little bit. They want to extend the 90-minute length and stuff. So yeah, I guess I'll give that a pass. And I also do feel like that. I do feel like personally that some of the new villains that this movie introduces, like Dennis and the Cyclops, doesn't reach the same like memorability as like something like Flats or the Strangler or Dirty Bubble or Man Ray, honestly, or Doodle Bob. Because I feel like those characters are more. Those characters were in the show, honestly, not the movies, honestly. And also, if you're wondering, no Flying Dutchman in this movie either, which I think the Flying Dutchman was not used until Search for Squarepants came out. So yeah, kind of explains a lot. So What's another thing I don't like about this movie, honestly? Well, okay, so I do feel like that some of the some I do think some of the scenes were had no context to them, honestly. I will say that for sure. Some of them have like I said, I think yeah, I think I understand the point about some scenes go on way too long, but that's another thing. Actually, Pro does actually appear in the movie, so I'm wrong. Sorry, I'm stupid. Anyway, I'll move on. Okay. So another big problem I have with this movie is that I feel like that there is a few scenes that are kind of out of context and also kind of feel weird, honestly. Like someone like Pearl, like not Pearl, Patrick asking if Mindy wanted to see his underwear again, or the scene where SpongeBob plays on his guitar. It's never explained why he has the guitar in the first place. But I guess also wanted I guess it's because they wanted to do a rock battle, I guess, or a music battle at the end of the movie, or a dance party ending and stuff. So I guess I can see why they wanted to do that, but they could have at least explained how he got the guitar. Because I think in the PC SpongeBob movie game, I heard that one of the fishes had the Goofy Goober guitar, and once he gets mind controlled, Sponge uses the guitar and runs into the Krusty Krab too, I guess. Which is actually, I think they should have had that in the movie too, because I think they could have, like I said, this could have explained why he had the Goofy Goober guitar at the end of the movie overall. But I guess they didn't have much time. I guess considering they were making this movie, they were putting a lot of effort into this movie. So yeah, I guess they wanted. I guess I can see why they don't wanted to. I guess they wanted to have that in the PC game and not in the console and not in the movie itself. There's also there's a bunch of deleted scenes from the movie, but I'm not gonna explain them in this video, honestly. And also about the whole villain thing, I feel like I said before, I think that I feel like that like Dennis and the Cyclops and the Tug Guy people and probably the hillbillies too, they don't they don't have the same memorability as some of the show's main villains over, or like at least good villains over, like not Bolt Bass, like Flats, like I said, the Strangler, Doodlebob, Man Ray, Dirty Bubble, like stuff like that. Those are proofs of characters that actually has a lot of who are very good villains that works in their stories of episodes overall. Just saying. Now, and also another little negative is that I feel like that the other thing that kind of bugged me while watching this movie is that I think they could have at least, I don't know. I think that like the big thing I think that they could have done a little bit is that they could have at least like I don't know. have a few more scenes with Squidward and Sandy, honestly, or at least at least a few more scenes with Squidward. But I guess you can't be beggars can't be choosers. I guess if you're wondering. But overall, the negatives doesn't really hurt. It sure does push the movie down from being an 8 out of 10 to a 6 out of 10. But I do think this movie is still passable and decent. Honestly, probably the fourth best SpongeBob movie overall, better than Sponge on the Run or Saving Bikini Bottom. Honestly, but I do prefer Search for Grip Hands, the Plankton movie, and Sponge on the Water personally. But I'll get to that when I talk about those movies anyway. I talked about Search for Pants before on this channel already, so I don't need to review that one again. So, let's get into the actually positives of this movie, honestly, because there is a lot of them. The animation looks great. I like the character arc of SpongeBob in this movie. I do like how Sponge and Patrick go on the adventure together, like best friends do. I do like Mr. Krabs' arc in the movie too. Even I prefer Saoirse Squarepants' arc more than the first movie's arc of Mr. Krabs. I do prefer. I do like the songs in this movie. Now We're the Men, Ocean Man, Best Day Ever are really great songs in this movie overall. Kind of sucks that Under My Rock never got in the movie overall. Some of the songs from the album never got into the actual movie itself. I was really hoping Under My Rock would play, considering it would be a cool song to play during the morning scene of SpongeBob's neighborhood. But I guess they wanted to not extend the movie too much, I guess. But still, you know what I mean though. So another thing I like about this movie is that I do like Mindy as a character, and King Neptune is not as bad as his one in the show in general. I'll say that for sure. He's very jerky in this movie, but I think I prefer his design and probably appearance here more than the actual show itself. Honestly, King Neptune, who didn't have like the show's King Neptune didn't have a good episode until Triton Trouble, which is the season 10 episode if you're wondering. So yeah, that kind of shows that like the show does better episodes when you in the modern season sometimes than the actual classic seasons, honestly, in my opinion. I think Mindy might be the hottest character of the show in general, even though she's a teenager, though. I'll say that for sure. She's probably the most prettiest character of the show, honestly. And I would love to see her return in the show as a main character, honestly. But I can also see that also being impossible considering that Mindy's voice actor probably would not get paid enough to have her as a main character in the show, honestly. But you know what I mean, of course. So yeah, I overall liked I really do like I do like Mindy as a character, honestly. Kate Neptune too. I do like the storytelling in this movie. The story structure is pretty nice in this movie. I do like a lot of the. I do think the adventure doesn't go on for way at least too much. Doesn't go for too long. Honestly, I'll say that for sure. The final battle is awesome. Um, the patchy parts are pretty passable. They're pretty enjoyable segments. The theme song is pretty nice. I think the credits are pretty nice too. The post credit scene was also really nice, and overall, I absolutely think the first movie is still a decent, passable movie overall. I know this video is very short because I didn't explain too much of the movie. Also, oh, I forgot to mention one scene that also got a lot of emotion out of me when I was younger, and that was the scene where Sponge and Patrick dies on screen, basically, in Shell City, which is probably the most saddest scene of the entire of any of these franchise in general, right behind Gary come home and stuff. But I think this is more sadder because you think that I think that because they die on screen and people are sad about it. I feel like everyone cried during the movie when it came out. I guess I did I did get sad when I first watched this movie when I first watched this movie when it comes to this scene because this was just so emotionally powerful, honestly. But still I think the scene still holds up today. Honestly, I'll say that for sure. I do like seeing SpongeBob also getting what he wanted at the beginning of the movie, where he gets manager and stuff. So that's a pretty nice ending to the movie in general. I spent 25 minutes talking about this movie in general. Very short review, I know, but there's not really much material I can talk about, honestly. I have more interesting things about the Sponge Out of Water than the first movie, personally. I'm just saying that for sure. But anyway. I think overall the first SpongeBob movie is pretty good. No, not pretty good. I think it's pretty decent and passable, and it still has some good highlights overall. But the negatives kind of push it down to a 6 out of 10 for me. But definitely B plus overall. Like at the top of B in my ranking of SpongeBob media overall. So yeah, that's it. I have nothing much to say about this movie else because I think that I have more interesting to say about the Sponge Out of Water than in the Plankton movie. But I still think this movie is still passable, and I could still watch it over and over again if I wanted to. In fact, I used to watch this movie so many times as a kid, honestly. But nowadays, I still enjoy it though. I'll say that for sure. It's a still enjoyable movie that I still recommend watching to the SpongeBob fan base overall. And okay, before I actually end this video, I want to talk about an old rumor that people like to spread on the internet. Honestly. So people have been saying to the internet the first SpongeBob movie was supposed to be the finale of the series in general. Now there is a video about this whole like rumor and talk about it was about it was, the YouTubers was Pug for Thug. I'll link her channel in the description box below for the video. But basically, she said in her video that the people who believe the first SpongeBob movie was supposed to be the finale are D-word writers of the show in general. People who absolutely love the first 3 seasons in the movie and keep saying that the first movie was supposed to be the finale. Even though I argue also this, Vincent Waller did say that the movie was not really the finale overall, the series finale. Which, I believe that, considering Vincent Waller is a pretty good SpongeBob veteran overall. At least, like, showrunner overall. So, yeah. Honestly, I believe what all Vincent Waller says, considering Vincent Waller is a really good guy, honestly. And I really like how he handles the show nowadays, honestly. Better than how Paul Tibbett handled the show back in the middle seasons and stuff. So yeah, I think that's enough of what I had to say about the first movie, honestly. And also, the people who think the first movie was also the finale, I feel like you should really stop thinking that, because I think that honestly, like, it's not bad to give the later seasons a chance, honestly, to prove themselves, honestly, because there's a lot of good episodes in those seasons overall. I'll say that for sure. There's a lot of great episodes in those seasons in general. And I really like those movies in general, honestly. They're really good movies. I mean, I still like I said, I think this is a decent movie overall. Not necessarily my favorite SpongeBob movie, but I can still see why people love it so much, honestly. And also, I want to give you guys also this as well. If you guys hate the later seasons, please don't judge them because you don't like them. I really like them, even though I'm not really a big fan of middle season SpongeBob as much. I still think it's a decent movie overall. I still appreciate the era for at least trying to be different from the first 3 seasons overall. Even if some of the bad episodes are really dang bad in those seasons overall. Like Choir Boys, for example. But anyway, I think that's enough of what I had to say about the first movie overall. I think this is a decent SpongeBob movie that has a lot of good jokes, a lot of good funnies, and has a good arc and a good storyline. But the flaws of the movie kind of just push it down to a 6 out of 10 for me, like the inconsistent stuff. And also, why would this be the finale if the show has not good continuity, honestly? That makes no sense to me. That seems very dumb. Like, people also say that this is at the end of the show, in the timeline, honestly, which I guess I can see why, but also at the same time, this show has no continuity. So honestly, saying this is the canon finale is kind of like redundant, honestly, because like I said, there's no continuity in the show in general. So I don't believe anymore that the first movie was supposed to be the finale, because really I don't think it's not really what I consider the finale. Also, if the movie did end the series in general, then I feel like that's also kind of weird, because I think ending off with 3 seasons is not really, I consider, satisfying, honestly. I'm sure the first 3 seasons are awesome, though, but I think they could do more seasons overall, and I'm glad the show continued afterwards, because like I said, there's a lot of good episodes after the first movie in general if you just give them a chance. I'm just saying that for sure. I'm saying that straight up to you guys, considering I want you guys to appreciate the later seasons for trying to be something different from the first 3 seasons, honestly, and don't bash on them like 2010 YouTube reviewers and stuff. So that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Tell me your guys' thoughts on the movie and talk about your own thoughts on this video in general at the comments below. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. And Cartoon Rental Boys out.